When you see or hear food bank, immediately images like these come to mind and a general sense of what a food bank is. The food bank of Contra Costa and Solano is easily one of the most valuable community assets. But for a few moments, let's get a different perspective on how this system works. Where does the food come from? The sources of food are varied, going from the least percentage to the highest. Feeding America is donated products from big companies like General Mills, Procter & Gamble, and Nabisco. Fund Foods is food that is purchased with donations for specific programs. Food Drives is the next largest source of food and is usually non-perishable food items. Next up is purchased food. Yes, the food bank buys some food staples with donations. The federal commodities is an allocation of funds to spend on USDA surplus goods. The local food donors comes from the community itself and consists of local grocery store recovery programs and the essential local community gardens. Fresh produce is the largest source of food to the bank. The farming community donates millions of pounds of produce, and the food bank only pays a handling fee of 5 to 12 cents per pound. So if you imagine the food bank to be primarily canned and boxed items, it's mostly fresh produce. How the food is distributed is also interesting. Again, beginning with the least percentage, the Extra Helpings program serves chronically ill people enrolled through the county health department. Food for Children feeds low-income children, referred by community-based organizations like WIC or Child Start. The next highest percentage goes to a wide variety of agencies. The Senior Food Program serves thousands of seniors twice a month through dozens of community centers, churches, and senior centers. The Farm to Kids program increases children's access to fresh fruits and vegetables through more than 80 after-school programs. The Community Produce program distributes more than 10,000 pounds per day of fresh produce at 60 or so sites to individuals, families, and seniors who qualify for the program. Next largest is the Food Assistance Program, which serves tens of thousands every month who receive food bags with bread, USDA commodities, and produce. Emergency food pantries for groceries and soup kitchens for hot meals is by far the largest distribution channel, accounting for about half of the food distribution. So that's where the food goes. Finally, let's look at financial sources that fund this valuable community safety net. Service clubs and faith organizations lead the way with diligent annual efforts. This is followed by a collection of other funding sources. Government agencies are extremely valuable with their support. Generous corporate sponsors are the next largest funding source. Next up are the generous funds from grants and foundations. But the incredible truth is that individuals are the lead funding support for the Food Bank of Contra Costa and Solano by far. So there you have the Food Bank of Contra Costa and Solano. Food in and food out, all run and supported by the organization. But there is one element that dwarfs all others. Besides the valuable paid staff, the entire operation is dependent on volunteers. Every angle of the food bank is only possible through a veritable army of the most amazing group of people who show us all what community is about. Last year alone, volunteers were responsible for over 70,000 hours of service. The Food Bank of Contra Costa and Solano has warehouse offices in Concord and Fairfield. There is not another local organization that comes to mind that reaches as far into the community, tying together as many community advocates into a very real community safety net as the Food Bank of Contra Costa and Solano.